Hey guys, this is Chris from Rekkid Talk. So I'm going to do, this might be fairly lengthy. This is going to be over singles I bought over the last several months. These is going to be indie rock and punk that I've gotten from a variety of sources, generally online sources. These are really not the sort of records I'm typically finding in the wild in my area. So let's get started. The first one is by this group called the Pinks. So the side A is USA, year 2000, Radio Beat Records in California. So this is sort of a garage power pop all female band, and they were from California. Kind of a fun little group. And then Pop Defect. I had gotten a Pop Defect album in the waxed one of his auctions, and I had showed it on a previous video. And Sean, the skater guy, he recommended this Third Degree Roadburn, which was one of their EPs. So there you go. There are what I think 4 songs on here. And so Pop Defect was a group that was from Seattle that existed in the 80s and early 90s, sort of an alternative garage surf post punk combination. I described them before. They sound a little bit like if Paul Westerberg had grown up in the Northwest rather than Minnesota. They did silly things like an instrumental version of the Association's Windy on here. And then there was a different seller that I got some more Pop Defect from. So we have Pop Defect Without. We have Pop Defect Mouth Off. And Pop Defect That Was It. And these were all from, I think, so that was it, was the B side. The A side was called Piro Desmadre. And all 3 of these are from the time period 1988 through 1990. I got some Mecha Normal, The Bird That Wouldn't Fly, so sort of your indie rock punk riot girl from Vancouver, very much connected to that Olympia K Records, Kill Rock Stars scene. Although this particular single actually came out on Matador Records. And then we'll have a little bit of a story of a mix-up that happened. Unfortunately, it got fixed. So I tried to buy this Lola 7-inch called Ecstasy Girl. And so Lola was a short-lived indie rock band in the late 90s from Bloomington, Indiana. I was mainly interested because of the presence of Free to Love from the Blake Babies. And the only 2 things in Lola's discography were a CD EP, which I already own, and then this single. And I found this single for sale. Now the CD came out on like a small Indiana-based label, which sort of makes sense. This came out on an obscure Italian label called Valentina Records for some reason. This is Valentina Records #1. And so I ordered it. And then what happened is, give me a second to find, so I can kind of complete the story here. Oh, where did I? Oh, so what I got, let me open up. And so this is what the single looks like. Notice that on both sides, the label is white and plain and nothing on it. And then when I went to play it, instead of being sort of an all-female sort of indie rock band that sort of sounds like Blake Babies or Mysteries of Life, it was a bunch of guys that sounded like sort of a garagey blues punk band. And so it was clearly not the right record. And so I did a little bit of investigating, looked at the dead wax. This was Valentina Records #2. And looking up on Discogs, that was a band called the Dixie Buzzards. Song Come On Little Tony. And I could tell by listening to the songs that this was, in fact, what I got. Easy mistake for them to make because apparently the record label, Valentina Records, put the Dixie Buzzards record in the Lola sleeve. And since there was no labeling on the labels at all, unless you looked at the dead wax or actually listed a record, it'd be a very easy to mistake. I contacted the seller to see, oh, maybe the Lola record is in your Dixie Buzzards sleeve. Unfortunately, no, that wasn't the case. The Dixie Buzzards, he listened to it and was also Dixie Buzzards. And so he did say that he would send me the Dixie Buzzards sleeve, which he did. I got a few other records from that seller that I'm going to show shortly. Fortunately, I ended up liking this Dixie Buzzards anyway, so it was kind of a happy accident. So they're a Swedish blues rock punk garage band who are also released. They released a few singles in the early 2000s on a variety of labels. And so let me dig out the other things that I got from that seller. Okay, so the other time I kind of went on like a early 90s grunge and art punk sort of thing. Some of these are bands that I had seen back in the day. So I got this Fluid single. They're sort of a grunge band from Denver. This was a single they put out on Sub Pop in 1989. Tin Top Toy and Tomorrow. Tomorrow's on the Grungier CD compilation, if any of you have ever heard that. And then he told me this is something they can't list on Discogs. This is a bootleg of the Fluid with some live songs, and so there's 4 live tracks, 2 on each side. Oh look, this disc is also not labeled. Fortunately, when I listened to it, I could tell that yes, it in fact was the Fluid playing these songs as listed on the back label here. And so, although the sound recording was a bit murky, but hey, it's a live bootleg of a band that was little known. Sort of, sort of an artsy post-hardcore alternative band called the Poster Children, who were from Champaign, Illinois. This is another Sub Pop single, Thinner, Stronger, that came out in 1990. I have an album by them as well. That came out, I think, originally on Twin Tone. Some good old Skin Yard. So Jack Endino, who's probably most known for producing Nirvana's Bleach, was part of this band. So this is very old school grunge, 1988. The single called Stranger. And then again, more on the idea of the art punk side. I saw this band Pitch Blend play once. They're Washington, D.C. based. Some and Lacquer Box. On Land Speed Records from Chapel Hill. In fact, I think that this was their debut. And so, let me dig out a few more things that I've gotten from other sources recently. While we're on the Sub Pop tip, I actually joined the Sub Pop Singles Club, and I got my first batch of singles from them a couple days ago. So you get 2 months worth at a time, so they send you 2 at a time rather than 1. This is the best one, Party Dozen, Fat Hans Gone Mad, and Dog Plan. And so this is an instrumental duo from Sydney, Australia. The woman, I didn't write down her name, but she plays saxophone, and the guy plays drums. And it's a little, as I said, besides the fact that she's not playing baritone sax, but it is a little reminiscent musically of Morphine, which is a band I think very highly of. The other single I got was by this Matthew Doc Dunn guy, Your Feel. which is okay, but the Party Dozen I definitely liked better. I've put them on my Discogs wish list, though it seems like everything else they've ever done has been only released in Australia, so that might be hard to find. And let's see, we've got some more stuff to show. The next batch here. Okay, we've got Spurge. And so Spurge was sort of an alt-rock punk funk band from Billings, Montana. I used to see them play live in Bozeman when I was working in Yellowstone, and we'd go up there to see shows at this divey place called the Filling Station. The craziest show I ever saw in my life was Spurge opening for Love Battery, and of course I have the Spurge cassette, but now I have the Spurge single, which I never got back in the day. Questions and Greed, which are actually both on the single as well, on this sort of purpley vinyl. So that was a very sort of nostalgic thing for me to score. Obviously, very few of you, if any, would know that group. We got this Hail Social, 2016, sort of a new wave synth pop indie rock from Philadelphia on the blue vinyl. This would kind of fit in well with the Slumberland box. Somebody Still Loves You, Boris Yeltsin. The single called Puzzle. Oh, this is actually a split. The song's not called Puzzle. The band on the other side is called Puzzle. So it's a split single. And the lead single is called We Can Win Missouri, because Someone Still Loves You, Boris Yeltsin, was a Missouri-based band. I think they were from Columbia, Missouri, if I remember right, or maybe Kansas City. I don't know if the other band, Puzzle, where they were from, because I didn't write that down. And then we've got some, again, some sort of the indie twee pop from the 90s. We got some Suddenly Tammy here. And so I think they had like one major label song album. The song Hard Lesson, which I knew, is on here. And so they were, I think they'd also been on Spin Art Records. They were from Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So they were piano based. They had they didn't have any guitar, so they had piano, bass, and drums as a three-piece. A female vocalist, Beth Sorrentino. I think her brother was the drummer. They were on Warner Brothers for like one album, and then in 1996, when Warner Brothers gave up on alternative music, they got dropped. We've got this very early single from American Laundromat Records. And so this is called Divine Candy. So it's a split with the Caulfield Sisters on the A side and Julie Peel on the B side. And it's numbered in case any of you care. I got number 273. And then what's this last one here? Forget Cassettes. So I got an album by them, but I also got a single. So this was originally released in 2003, reissued in 2018, and so they were a Nashville-based indie rock band that sounded, at least their early stuff sounded like early Slater Kinney. I talked about, so Beth Cameron, who's the leader of this, she's now has a group called Black Bra, which I think I've mentioned on one of my videos. And there's a little bit, a few more to slog through, and then I'll be caught up for months. So the last bunch of stuff is stuff I got from Adam at the Record Krate. So, okay, here's the prize I won from him. Somebody named Van William, Revolution, 2017, sort of folky indie rock. Well, it wasn't that great. I think the guy was from California via Alaska. And then I got some cool punk from him. We have the Mighty Skullhead. And so the Mighty Skullhead features this dude named, I think his name is Elwood James, who has spent most of his career as a guitar tech, and he's the guy who became ZZ Top's bass player for the tour after Dusty Hill died. But he puts out his own stuff as well. The King of Blues Punk, Gold Star label. That's very cool looking, and this is fun stuff. Based out of Lexington, Kentucky. We got the Frumpies here. And so the Frumpies is a Riot Girl band. This was on Kill Rock Stars. This had I'm pretty sure, I had it written down somewhere. Where are my notes? Oh, yeah. So Toby Vale from Bikini Kill was in here. I think somebody from Bratmobile was in this as well. 1993. Sounds like what you think Riot Girl from 1993 would sound like. We've got Wouldnt, 1994 punk from Sacramento. Pretty basic melodic punk. And then we've got Sticky. So this EP called Cuddle with 9 heartwarming classics. Originally released in 1988. Nerds kept bugging us, so we re-released it. If you paid big bucks for the old pressing, you're a total schmuck. Okay, we've got classics like Boy Do Girls Ever Suck and Intercourse the System. And so it's sort of thrashy punk with a smart-ass lyrical tinge to it. They were from Santa Clara. And so that's catching up on a lot of my Indian punk. I don't believe any of you have slogged through almost 17 minutes, but if you did, congratulations to you.